screen. Fantastic. Alright, hopefully the stream won't be too far away. There it is, it's loading up now. So stream's up. Loading up now. So my audio is working, that's great. Stream's up, chat's up, we're all good to go. So, hello everyone and welcome to round 2 of the PlayStation America series here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Everingham, your commentator for this event, and this time we're racing at Shanghai International Circuit for the Chinese Grand Prix. This 3.39 mile 16 turn circuit was opened and first used in Grand Prix racing in 2004. Since that point, Shanghai has been the definition of mediocrity in Formula One. In real life, it's not an overly bad racetrack, but it isn't exactly one you would shout about or give praise to. In the virtual world, however, especially here on Race Spec, the races have been quite interesting, so it pays to be just a little bit optimistic. There are a few overtaking opportunities around the circuit. Drivers can try and pass with the help of DRS into turn 1 and into the tight right-hand hairpin of turn 14. They can also try and pass into the hairpin of turn 6 and potentially into the chicane of 11 and 12. There are a few sections that the drivers will have to be wary of. The opening 4-corner complex can be the scene of carnage, especially on the opening lap. The high-speed bends of turn 7 and 8 have also claimed quite a few drivers. Arguably the biggest piece of work they'll have to deal with is the slightly banked sweeper of turn 13. Due to its nature, it's very easy to lose control of the back end of the car. So as drivers make their way round, they'll be trying to maximize speed through the bend and for the following kilometre-long straight, but also desperately trying to keep control of the car and not spin out. And I can tell you from experience, that section is not fun to deal with at all. Now, before we focus on qualifying, there is a bit of news to go through first from the past week. Now, I just had a report from Flavius, a weather report. There's a chance of rain at the start of the race, so you might see some intermediate conditions right at the beginning. Will eventually dry out towards the mid-phase of the race. Now, from last week, there were a few stewards reports dished out. There were two separate incidents, involving the same two drivers, KD 1997 and Shizant. Both drivers were given 5-second time penalties. And as a result, KD's demoted from P4 to P6 in the final results, whereas Shizant stays in P11. There was one final incident report involving KD and Silent Banshee, an incident from qualifying which resulted in KD crashing out and unable to set a lap time. As a result, Silent Banshee has been given a qualifying ban for this race here in China. Speaking of Silent Banshee, he's actually now become a full-time driver, driving in the Scarlet Red Scuderia Ferrari. He's replacing George Michelson, who has unfortunately had to pull out. The other driver who has become full-time is this man on screen, Captain Schmeg. He is replacing Just Gaming Real, who has basically ghosted the league. Flavius has tried to get in contact with the driver, but he's been unable to do so. As a result, Captain Schmeg now fills his place. One final bit of news. There was a patch released yesterday for F1 2021, version 1.15. According to the notes, it fixed a few bugs, adjusted some things for online and offline play. But the big thing, quote unquote, is the introduction of network warning indicators, whatever they are. Haven't been able to see them here from the spectator point of view. Maybe you can see them as a driver, I don't know. But they're apparently a new thing they've added in. Makes it easier for the drivers within the lobby to identify connection problems. I don't know. But that's pretty much it in terms of news. Now we can focus on qualifying. Currently, Renner Jr., as he identified to me last week. I was pronouncing his name wrong. I was pronouncing it Rena. It's not right. It's Renner Jr. I can only apologise for that. I'll get it right from here on out. Lake Show now at the top of the table with a 32.1 as Snake and Bean has crashed out. Let's see here. Can we catch that? There is a Red Bull on its way to the final corner as KD now jumps up to pole position, beating Lake Show by a second. Right on board here with Liquito rather. No, we missed out on seeing what happened to Snake and Bean's car. But he's our first proper retirement. Silent Banshee retired out of the session because he's serving a qualifying ban, so Silent Banshee will be starting towards the back. Snake and Beans losing control at the final corner. Quite a common sight here at China. Well, interesting to hear, Bags, because apparently they're a new thing added in with that 1.15 patch, and I haven't seen them. And if you haven't seen them as a driver, then yeah, obviously they're not properly present in the game. Either that, or we didn't have any connection problems last night, which would have been nice. As iStev is coming up to the line now. P10 for the AlphaTauri driver with a 34.4. Now, considering it's an intermediate start, yeah, everyone's on the soft tyre. That's not a surprise at all. So we probably don't need the tyre graphic. Isn't just starting a flying lap here, making his way around turn 1. A few other drivers getting ready. Oscar Toll is. I tell you what, we'll take advantage of this, give you a proper guided tour of this racetrack. Heading around the long sweeper of turn 1. It's a decreasing radius corner, so you have to progressively slow the car down into the hairpin of turn 2. And down through turn 3, then into turn 4. That's the end of the opening complex. It's very tedious to go through. Around turn 5 into the tight hairpin of turn 6. Not a bad overtaking spot here. Can be the scene of some carnage on the opening lap. Up and over a small crest into the left-hand sweeper of turn 7. You have to be brave here. Try and carry as much throttle as you can. Then around turn 8, slow the car down. 4th gear, hovering at about 170 kilometers an hour at the apex. Around turn 9, then into turn 10. Important that you get a good exit here. That's to maximize the top speed down this straight. Into turn 11, it's a bit tighter than it looks. Then into turn 12, there's yellow flags out on track at the exit of turn 6. That must be Liquito. Around the sweeper of turn 13, which is a royal pain in the backside to get right, but you can see there from Oscar, he did pretty well. Down the long straightaway towards the hairpin of turn 14, then into one of the most insignificant corners of all motorsport, turn 15. This little left-hand kink, that's a corner on the official track map. It's unbelievable, but it is. Around the final corner, turn 16, will open DRS, and underneath the grandstand, crosses the line. It's P9 for Oscar with a 32.8. Pretty respectable lap time there. Now, knowing... Ooh, hello, Rafa. You're just leaving the pits. Yeah, you can see here, he's trying to get out of the way. Drivers who are starting flying laps. Now he's getting out of the way of drivers on out laps. No, it's quite an awkward pit exit. It's very understandable to do that sort of thing. Mighty Wombat now in second place as well, I just noticed. The only other driver in the 31s. See here KD well and truly at the front of the field with 7.5 tenths in hand. Yeah, quite alright, Bags. About as much as the corner as turn 2. Or turn 12 at Canada, where we're going to next week. That's also quite an insignificant corner. The right-hand kink before the wall of champion chicane. That's a corner on the official track map. Is this the last race of the race week for China? It just might be, you know. I'm not quite sure. But I think it is, because Formula Endurance, I don't think they're at Shanghai. I know they're racing in a few days' time. I don't believe they're in China, so this might be the last race. here at Shanghai as KD goes back into the pits. He was on an outlap, but he's just bailed out of it. Okay, I was going to watch him operate around the racetrack, but instead he just goes back in. Whatever, I guess. As Lake Show here is getting ready. A few other drivers are currently on flying laps. Flavius is coming towards the end of one. Got one more corner to negotiate. Turn 16. Gets around that pretty tidily. Endurance is at Saudi Arabia. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, I think this will be the last race here at China in terms of the racing week. Of course, on Sunday, we'll be racing at Canada, which should be interesting. Rafa's out. He's retired at the exit of the pit. You can see the blue dot stationary there, the dark blue dot. What's he done? On board. He's just despawned. As JBH has just completed a lap. He pulls off to the side. That's Renner Jr. going through. How did he crash here? How bizarre. Well, Rafa's out of qualifying. Somehow. I don't know how, but somehow he's out. Captain Schmeg up by half a second in the middle sector. He's making his way around turn 13. Onto the long straightaway that follows. Dirty tyres. Fair enough, Rafa. Fair enough. Dirty tyres are never fun. Just get on the throttle that little bit too much, away it goes. It's as easy as that. Captain Schmeg makes his way out of the hairpin, up towards the final corner, turn 16. Quite easy to get it wrong and cop a warning. But Captain Schmeg does no such thing. Crosses the line, jumps up to P3 with a 31.793. The gap is closed between P2 and P1. Noah here is just set at 31.4. He's on an in-lap now, but he's still a good 3/10 off KD's time. Mighty Wombat, I think he might be on a flying lap. He's up by a 10.5 in the middle sector. Heading down towards the hairpin, entering in at 319 kilometers an hour. Brings it down to about 70, short shifting on the exit to find traction. Up towards the final corner. We'll bring it back down to 5th gear. Uses all the curb on the exit, opens DRS, crosses the line, jumps back up to P3, improving by just under 2/10 to set a 1 minute 31.736. Renner has improved by 2.5 in P5. Lake Show in the middle of a flying lap is up by 0.03 of a second in the first sector. He's making his way through the middle one now, coming towards the end of it actually, and he's up by a 1/10, apparently purple according to the mini-map, but in order for him to try and claim pole position, he would have to improve by a whole second on his current personal best. Down the long straightaway here is a Haas getting out of the way. Actually, no, Captain Schmeg made a mistake. He's got a missing front wing on his Haas. Dear, oh dear. Into the braking zone at turn 14, brings it down to 2nd gear, then a short shift on the exit, all the way up to 4th gear. He's quite low on fuel as well. He might duck into the pits. No, he won't. He will complete this flying lap. Opens DRS, crosses the line, jumps up to P3, improving by 0.6. That's quite a healthy improvement, so Lake Show obviously had a lot of time to find in that final sector. But he's still 0.4 off pole position. Wombat is going back into the pits. Renner, I think, is doing the same. Oscar appears to be on a flying lap, I think. It's coming around turn 13. Nice and narrow, then using all of the circle on the outside. On the exit of the corner. Down towards the hairpin of turn 14. Entering in at 326 kilometers an hour. That's actually one of the quickest speeds I've seen down that long straight. Even from Pacific Tier 1, I saw about a maximum of about 320, 321. Oscar, he was hitting 326. A lot of straight line speed, and he jumps up to P8. I imagine with that sort of straight line speed, he'll be quite good in the race. Be very quick down the straights. Be able to have a lot of momentum to try and make some overtakes happen. Lotto getting ready. Now this man on screen, he put on a hell of a display trying to drive, trying to drive on slick tyres in wet weather conditions. The rain started falling right at the end of the Portuguese Grand Prix. And Lotto took a gamble staying out on slick tyres. Drove well. He was in the lead, but unfortunately wasn't able to hang on to it. But, I don't think he should encounter those troubles today. With a wet weather start, everybody will be on the intermediate tyre. With 3 minutes left, Dahl is on a flying lap, or rather beginning a flying lap, as he heads down the main straightaway towards turn 1. Mighty Wombat getting ready. KD beginning a flying lap. He's only set 1 flying lap, and he still has a margin of 3/10. Can he find any more time? Well, he's found almost a 10th and a half in the first sector. Exiting turn 6, up towards the sweeper of turn 7. Keeps it flat. No hint of a lift whatsoever from KD as he heads into turn 8. Now around turn 9, 4th gear. Gently on the throttle around turn 10, using the curb on the outside. Down towards the chicane of 11 and 12. He's up by 3/10 of a second. Exiting turn 12 now around the sweeper of turn 13. It's very easy to make a mistake here. That Mercedes looks stable. It looks quick. Heading down the kilometre long straightaway now. He opens DRS. Watch the speedo climb. 310, 315, 320 kilometres an hour into the braking zone at turn 14. Brings it down to 3rd gear. Doesn't bother using 2nd. Gets nice rotation around the hairpin. 1 corner remains for KD. 5th gear. Uses the inside curve. Uses the outside curve. Opens DRS. Crosses the line. There's a 1 minute 30.737. He is well clear of Noah in P2. He's getting ready to set a flying lap. Lakeshire, he's on an out lap, but he's at the beginning of the course. Lob has crashed out as well. That's at the exit of turn 13, so he's obviously lost control coming around the sweeper. So the best he can hope for is a 15th place start. Oscar Toll. Hello, what's happened here? Dahl Lotto and Oscar have come together. This is at turn 1. And I believe Dahl Lotto has got a 5 grid place penalty from some sort of collision. You can see the end plate missing on the Alpine. Oh dear. JBH on his final flying lap. Renner Jr. I think he's just started a flying lap. Currently P6. With a 32.085. Mighty Wombat coming towards the end of a flying lap, up by 2/10 in the middle sector. Can the Williams driver find any more time in this final sector? If he can improve by 3/10, he can take P2 away from Noah. Looking at the margins, it might be too impossible for drivers to try and take pole position. Look at that. Mighty Wombat has taken P2 with a 31.2. Noah's lap has been invalidated, so that's it for Noah. The best he can hope for is P3. Lakeshire on his final flying lap is making his way around turn 3. Gently on the throttle, short shifting up through the gears to find the traction. Up towards the first sector split. The clock says he's up, only by a little bit though, by 21 thousandths of a second. Captain Schmeg making his way through the middle sector. Renner Jr. up by 2/10 in the middle sector. 1 corner remains for the Alfa Romeo driver. Negotiates it well. Crosses the line, jumps up to P5, improving by 4/10 to set a 31.673. Lake shows up by a 10th in the middle sector. The race winner from last week in Portugal. He actually DM'd me how happy he was about winning that race. It was a long time coming. See how he fares at the end of this qualifying session as he heads down the long straightaway towards the hairpin of turn 14. Captain Schmeg, his qualifying is done. He's made a mistake somewhere. He's down on his personal best. Lake Show, one corner remains. Around turn 16 in 5th gear, using all the curb and invalidating. Oh dear. That's a very common mistake to make. Lake Show will start from P4. The Mighty Wombat goes back into the pit lane, and that is qualifying over. It is KD 1997 on pole position, setting a 1 minute 30.737. Out-qualifying his nearest rival by just under half a second, that being Mighty Wombat. Starting P3 will be Noah, then Lake Show. Renner Jr. from P5, then Captain Schmeg P6. JBH from 7th, Darlotto qualifying 8th, but he'll be starting down in 13th place with a 5 grid place penalty. So Oscar Toll will jump up to P8. Rafa will jump up to 9th, and then Psycho will complete the top 10. We'll look at the rest of the field in just a moment. Oh, chase cam, look at this. See the rear end of this Alfa Romeo. There we are. Oh, it was Oscar who got the 5 grid place penalty. My apologies. I read that wrong. I thought Darlotto got it, but no, it's Oscar with the 5 grid place penalty. So Oscar will drop down through the order. So Darlotto will start from 8th, then Rafa from 9th, then Psycho will complete the top 10. Laquito from 11th, Guitar Hero from 12th rather. Flavius will jump up to 13th, then Oscar, he'll start from 14th place. Ice Dev in 15th, Lob in 16th, Shizant in 17th, Rafixa from 18th, and 2 drivers not setting any time. Silent Banshee from a qualifying ban, and Snake and Beans crashing at the beginning of quali. Race time now. Now it's a wet weather start. See the rain falling just ever so lightly. And we should see these conditions go away later on in the race. There we are. Yes, quite right, Pro. Happy Australia Day. Everyone's got a day off, which is awfully nice. Sit down and relax till the work week comes back again tomorrow. Session counter counting down. Get this start underway. But first a formation lap. And one thing I haven't noted that I really should. 20 cars are lining up on the grid. It's fantastic to see. A full field of cars racing for this event. Saw it last night in Pacific Tier 1. It was incredible to see how close everybody was in terms of pace. It was a bit more spread out here in America's series. But hopefully we'll see some good competition out there today. Now everyone's starting on the intermediate tyre. We can see that. So we probably won't need the tyre graphic and we won't need the interval graphic just yet. But to run through the order again. We've got KD on pole position after setting a very nice lap time of 1 minute 30.737. We'll have Mighty Wombat lining up alongside. Now KD will be starting on the racing line on the outside for turn 1. So if KD doesn't convert well off the line, Mighty Wombat has a real chance of going up the inside into turn 1 to try and take the lead, as he has a bit of a moment there at turn 8 trying to get his tyres up to temperature. Noah will start from P3, followed by Lake Show in P4, the race winner from Portugal. I reckon he'll be fancying himself here, if he gets a nice start anyway, off the line. Renner Jr. P5, followed by Captain Schmeg in P6, JBH in 7th, Darlotto in 8th, Rafa in P9, then Psycho completes the top 10. There's the predicted tyre stop strategy. That will change quite a bit when the conditions change, of course. Laquito P11, Guitar Hero in 12th. He's actually off the racetrack there. Flavius in P13. Oscar qualified 9th, but with a 5 grid place penalty for a severe collision. He'll start from P14 as JBH and Darlotto collide on a straight. So they've both been teleported back to the grid. Oh dear. Eistev from P15, then Log from P16, followed by his teammate Shizant in P17. Rafixa in P18, sporting a Casper Ackerman helmet, I can see there as well. Then Silent Banshee in P19. And finally Snake and Beans at the back of the grid in 20th. Not exactly the worst place to be, especially in a wet weather situation like this. Try and avoid the opening lap troubles, if there are any, of course. Just be waiting on Snake here to line up into his grid slot. Coming up to it now. Nice and steady. We're going to get this race underway. There we are. But everyone's lined up, ready to race here. Rockady on pole, Mighty Wombat alongside. We have 10 red lights. And we are underway here in Shanghai. KD, a bit of a wiggle there at the start, but look at him pull away. Lake Show looking down the inside of Mighty Wombat. He's into P3. Side-by-side action there for that final podium spot as they head into turn 2 for the first time in race conditions. Down into turn 3. No yellow flags, no major incidents off the opening lap. That's fantastic to see. Look at Snake and Beans. He's up to 14th. Oh, and spinning is Noah. I don't think he hit the wall there, but he was awfully close. Oh, dear. As he flick spins the car back, pointing in the right direction, but he's down in last place now. It's now a Mercedes 1-2. It's KD in the lead. Lake Show in second. Mighty Wombat in third. Darlotto up into 4th place. What a superb start from the Alpine driver. Up 4 places off the start. Captain Schmeg trying to fight back. Contact between Renner Jr. and Rafa, I believe, at the exit of turn 8. Exiting turn 10 now. Down towards the chicane of 11 and 12. A whole heap of drivers line astern. JBH looking down the inside of Laquito here. Laquito gives him room in fairness. Around turn 12 we go. And JBH sort of he has to give in. He has to let Laquito have the position. Leaders are now making their way onto the long straightaway. Drivers all single file. Bit of side-by-side action, I think, between Eistev and Guitar Hero. Yep, Eistev has overtaken Guitar Hero for P15. As we head down towards the hairpin here. JBH unable to send it down the inside. I don't think... Oh, as Laquito runs awfully wide. And here comes JBH. He's got drive. But Laquito is still in front, amazingly. But there we are. Bit of drama on the opening lap, but nothing too serious, in all fairness. JBH is having a go this time around. Looking the long way here at turn 1. Always Laquito overshoots it. JBH gets underneath him. There's the Red Bull. And finally, JBH gets by into 8th place. There's the leaders coming out of turn 4. Up towards the first sector split. 2 drivers into the pit lane. Silent Banshee and Noah. So evidently Noah did hit the wall. So he's getting his front wing fixed. Bit of battling going on here in the midfield. As KD pulls away out in front. He's already got a 2.3 second lead to his teammate. Knowing KD quite well, he's actually pretty quick around this circuit. It's one of his favourites, so it's not surprising that he put the car on pole position. He's now starting to pull away. We've got a long race in front of us where anything can happen. Oh, as Snake and Beans has a huge moment. At the exit of turn 10, as Flavius tries to get in on the action. Lob ran wide there as well. I thought I saw a car go deep into turn 11. I think it was Lob. There's some pretty solid starts here and there. You can see the position change. Snake and Beans up 7. Lob here up 4. Oscar up 3. He's chasing Psycho. Laquito up a couple. Same with Rafa. He's behind Renner Jr. at the moment. Captain Schmeg up in position. Yellow flags. That's Noah spinning again, this time at turn 10. As Psycho spins as well. See here, Noah, he gets going again. Here's Psycho down in 18th place, poor fella. As Icedev is going into the pit, so it seems that he might have some damage. Field is starting to spread out. This is something you typically see in these sort of conditions. Not a great deal of battling going on. Rafa closes in, but not by enough to try and attack the Alfa Romeo in front. Meanwhile, here, the battle for second place is definitely on. Lake Show, Mighty Wombat and Dar Lotto. The Alpine driver starting really well. I noticed that on the opening lap. Up to 4th place almost immediately, so fantastic start from him. Down towards the chicane of 11 and 12. 6/10 separating Lake Show and Mighty Wombat. Is it still raining as well? No, it's still coming down. It's still sprinkling. We're going to have intermediate conditions for a little while at least. Dar Lotto's right behind though. Using a fair bit of battery, you can see there he's got 70-odd%. And he's still using battery. Still trying to close in. Sector 3 yellows, that is, I believe, Shizant. Losing control as Dahl goes up the inside of Mighty Wombat. They're side by side on the exit as Dar Lotto can't quite get the power down. So he slots back into 4th place. KD now well out in front with a 4-second lead. Drivers head down the main straight once again. Looking around turn 1. Dar Lotto working away as Mighty Wombat runs wide. Into turn 2, Dar Lotto forces the issue. But Mighty Wombat has the inside line for turn 3. He should hang on to this and does. Parks it a little bit, not through intention, but because of the conditions. And, Mighty Wombat hangs on to P3. Into the hairpin at turn 6. You can see Dar Lotto thinking about going down the inside there, but he wasn't able to do it. But no, what are you up to in the chat? Nice to see you're watching along. Yellow flags out. I think that's Icedev. Yes, it is. It's now AlphaTauri's last and second last. That's not good to see. Mercedes pulling way out in front. I know, it's so unrealistic. My immersion is broken for the Mercedes one too. Goodness me. These past 8 years have been very traumatic for us in the Formula One universe. Just seeing Mercedes out in front constantly. Become a very natural thing to see. Wombat here's closing in on Lake Show. Half a second behind, just isn't quite close enough to try and dive bomb into the hairpin here. Doesn't help he doesn't have any DRS either. As Oscar, he doesn't need DRS. Got the inside line. Laquito's fighting back though. Around turn 15, KD sets a new fastest lap, a 46 flat. Heading into the final corner. Laquito tries to fight to his credit, but isn't able to hang on to P9. So Oscar, he's into that 9th place. He's made up his 5 grid place penalty from qualifying. He'll be looking to make up a few more positions while he's at it, but he's a fair way behind JBH, almost 3 seconds behind. These two still kind of battling it out, but Laquito can't quite get it run. Then we got these 4 fighting out in front. Got Lake Show, Mighty Wombat, Dar Lotto, and Captain Schmeg is now on the back of this too. Fairly reminiscent to what I saw in Pacific Tier 1, where you get these trains forming. It's a bit more surprising though to see these trains because we are in intermediate conditions. I think the rain has stopped as well. It has. You can see there isn't any rain droplets on the camera lens. There isn't any rain droplets on the halo. So the rain has definitely stopped. So we're going to see some dry weather soon as Lake Show loses the back end entering 13. That was a great catch, by the way, to hang on to his car there, but here comes Mighty Wombat. He's got to run, he's got the power, and he's through into second place. Darlotto is a bit too far behind to try and follow the Williams through. Down into the hairpin. Oh, hello Darlotto, how are you doing? Down the inside he goes. I saw that Alpine grow very large in that right side wing mirror. Oh, there he was, just shoots down the inside. There was no contact either. It was a genuine pass, but I'm sure Lakeshore was caught by surprise big time as JBH goes into the pit lane. Interesting. I'll bring up the tyre graphic, see what he pits onto, shall we? More than likely be a slick set of tyres, maybe a set of hards. They'll go to the end from here. I don't know if a set of mediums will, as Lakeshore goes into the wall. Oh no, a Silent Banshee has left the session as well. He finds reverse, he gets the car going, but you saw him through turn 13. Oh, he's going to end up in the wall again. Yes, he does. Oh, there we go. He gets going. But, yeah, we saw what happened at turn 13. He lost the back end of the car. Coming around the sweeper, he did the exact same thing through turns 3 and 4. And now he has to do an entire lap with a missing wing. That won't be fun. Now, JBH, he's gone onto a set of softs, which is probably the most ideal tyre you want in these conditions. It's not fully dry yet. There's still moisture on the racetrack, so you want a tyre that has a lot of grip and comes up to temperature very quickly. That's definitely the soft tyre. But he'll have to make another stop at some point. He's coming across Lakeshore now. Lakeshore doesn't put up any sort of fuss. He's trying to get back to the pit lane. Get a new front wing on his Mercedes. There's a purple middle sector for JBH as well. Here comes Guitar Hero. He's got a run on Lob. He's got DRS open as well as KD goes into the pits. Guitar Hero on the racing line. Lob down the inside into the hairpin. There's contact between the two. As they exit turn 15, Lob maintains his 9th place. They might be going into the pits here, the both of them. Yes, they're both going in. And losing the back end there, Lob. As Icedev retires, he's crashed out. And we have a safety car. The safety car has been deployed. Rafa has gone onto the medium tyre. So has Oscar Toll. Renner Jr. has done the same. Actually, all of the leaders have done it. They're all on the medium compound tyre. And we're coming up to the scene of the accident here. There he is, Icedev losing the back end, hitting the wall. So he's out of the race. Our first retirement. Whereabouts is the safety car? What's Mighty Wombat doing? No, it's displaying the green light past the safety car. When it has the green light, you pass the thing. I think JBH got an illegal overtake, so he's giving that back. It's always a bit frustrating to see drivers line up behind it when there's a green light on top of the safety car. When there's a green light, pass it. Don't stay behind it. Pass it. It's waiting for the leader. In this case, it's Laquita, but he's going to be pitting in and putting on some slick tyres, probably a set of mediums based off what everyone else has done. Absolutely right. Thanks, Banana. Green means go. But yeah, when you see a yellow light flashing on top of the safety car, then you stay behind it. If it's green, pass it. That's what you got to remember. Typically, Jeff comes over the radio as well to tell you to overtake the safety car as well. So always be listening into your radio with Jeff. Even though 99% of the time Jeff dispenses useless information, as Laquita gets a 5-second penalty for speeding. And the intervals have disappeared because I think Silent Banshee is back in his Ferrari, so they'll be coming back soon. Listen to Jeff and just pay attention to the lights. They give you a lot of important information. Now, the Mercedes safety car is going. You can see there now there's a flashing yellow light at the back of the car. That means you've got to stay behind it. Can't overtake it. Overtake it, it's a no-no. You get disqualified. See KD trying to get some temperature into his tyres. They'll still be pretty fresh. He hasn't done a proper flying lap on them. So I don't... Maybe they are up to temperature. Maybe. I imagine they'll still be on the colder side. That's for sure. But yeah, everyone's pitted onto the medium compound tyre, except for two, that being Flavius and Psycho. Both of them, they're on the soft tyre. They might pit for mediums. They might take the opportunity to pit for mediums, but they're currently on the soft tyre. And these guys will be trying to get their tyres to the end of the race as well. Oh yeah, Jeff, he's honestly the greatest engineer ever, I reckon. Yeah, it's the bot, Banana. It's good to see the bot still here. Been here since last season. Yeah, the famous Bathurst 1000 when Wing Cup overtook the safety car. He got a drive-through for it, didn't he? Pretty certain he got a drive-through for it. Ruined any chance of him winning the 1000. It's a pretty decent real-life example of why you should pay attention to the lights on the safety car and also pay attention to your engineer who's giving you information. But it's unfortunate that the engineer you get in this game, Jeff, isn't exactly the sharpest tool in the toolbox. But every so often he does dispense semi-useful information. How's my Australia Day going? Pretty boring, honestly. I woke up, I had a coffee, I started doing this. That's basically how it's been so far. I haven't been doing too much. I think this Australia Day is just going to be a relaxed day, just to chill out. Probably have something nice for dinner, more than likely. Just noticed as well, Katie's got the George Russell helmet as well. I've just noticed that. Mr. Roussel moving over to Mercedes this year. Be interesting to see how he fares against Lewis, although we still don't know about what he's doing for 2022, whether he's retiring, quote unquote, as all the media reports say. I don't think he will, though. There's no way he will. Want a co-commentator in the middle of this? Probably not now, no. As we're about to go back, unless some green flag racing. Actually, no, we're not. We're still doing another bloody lap. Oh, Psycho. Couldn't even see that dark blue dot. Silent Banshee is overtaking a whole heap of people. What's happened there? Oh, lag. I think that was lag. Or I was seeing things. Well, I didn't think... Oh, I think that is lag. He did drop out briefly, but he suddenly ended up in 14th. He just vaulted up the leaderboard. As Icedev is left to say, fair enough, I suppose. No point sticking around. You can come over and watch the stream if you like, or do what you need to do. Ooh, KFC nugs. Wouldn't mind some nugs, to be honest. That'd be quite nice. As, oh, what's going on here? Lakeshore, oh dear, people are passing each other on the safety car. This often creates a mess. Fixer and Lakeshore are now passing one another. Now Lakeshore's trying to give the position back because he's got an illegal overtake prompt. I reckon Fixer might get the same back. Oh no, he drives away. He's driving away. But no, Silent Pen, he's now up to 11th. How's he ended up in 11th? What? He just vaulted up another 4 positions. Safety car's in this lap. He was 14th, now he's 11th. Now he's 12th. It's a guessing game at the moment. Where's Silent Banshee going to end up next? Back to 11th, it seems. As I think Snake and Bean's got an illegal overtake prompt, so he's let Silent Banshee back through. He's off the... he's not off the racetrack. That was lag. Okay. Righto. Good fun. Nothing better than a lagging car. I know that all too well. We could probably get rid of the tyre graphic as well. Pretty much everybody's on the mediums, so probably don't need it. KD's backing up everybody. In fact, he can try and go now. What's Wombat up to? The Silent Banshee left the set. What? Wombat's been caught napping. He took the hairpin so slowly, and KD said, well, thank you very much. I'll just drive away now. He's got a 1.5 second, well, almost 1.5 second lead after the restart. Oh, there we go. And we saw KD's pace in qualifying. He's just going to go, I reckon. Wombat, he's got Dale Lutto right behind in P3, followed by Captain Schmeg, then Renner Jr. Rafa just behind in P6, and it's a bit of a gap to Liquito, and some drivers towards the back of the field are swapping places. Down the inside goes Dale Lutto and Mighty Wombat here at turn 6. Think he gets the job done? He most certainly does. Into P2 he goes. Renner working away at Captain Schmeg. It loses a little bit of time for the sweepers, but you do kind of expect that with all the dirty air coming off the car in front. Rafa half a second behind, then Liquito in 7th place, almost a full second behind. And over a second behind is Oscar Toll in 8th place. Got Lob, Guitar Hero, and that's Lakeshore bringing out yellows. He's down in 18th. There's a bit of battling going on between Noah and Flavius, I think that was. As Noah's pretty close here. He's got a run. He's looking, thinking about it as JBH overtakes Silent Banshee. And Guitar Hero has crashed. There he is there. So he's lost control of the back end of the car. He's smashed into the barrier. We have a drag race going on for 13th. And there's Snake and Beans. He's being closed in on. Towards the hairpin. He goes deep on the brakes. Flavius gives him room. Oh, and it's a bit tight on the exit, but it's all fair in love and war. And he's through into 13th place. Oh, and look at... Noah gets a run. Snake and Beans doesn't. Snake and Beans falls to 13th. The Williams driver had absolutely no momentum coming out of the final turn there. None whatsoever. Captain Schmeg is out. He has crashed. That is at the exit of turn 4. We have a virtual safety car. There he is there. And Refixer and Lakeshore, they have 5-second penalty. And Snake and Beans is slowing down quite a lot. There's Captain Schmeg. I think Snake and Beans is in a bit of trouble. Maybe a bit of damage, though his front wing looks okay. Lakeshore has a 5-second pen. Refixer has a 5-second pen. They severely collided with one another. I reckon one car breathed on the other one and both of them have 5-second pens. It's usually the case. And there's poor Psycho down in 18. Came to a stop there. He must have been pretty low on his Delta. That's retirement number 3. Wasn't expecting it from Captain Schmeg. Definitely one of the better operators in this tier. Just shows you how difficult this track can be sometimes. The drivers have to be careful to not get a drive-through penalty for speeding. As soon as I say that, oh, Del Lotto goes into the wall, losing the back end of the hairpin, just getting on the throttle that little bit too much. DRS is now enabled and the Alpine is into the pits. Oh, what a mistake. Oh, he'd be absolutely kicking himself. I certainly would be if I did something like that, and I have done stuff like that. And he gets a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pits as well, just to rub a little bit of extra salt into the wound. But I was about to mention Liquito got a 5-second penalty, a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC. Very easy to do, mind you. The Delta can jump around a whole lot. There'll be moments where you think you have a second in hand in terms of the Delta, then it'll just magically drop to like minus 0.2, just out of nowhere. You basically have to slam on the brakes and pray that you don't get a pen. It's rather irritating, but it does happen. Oh, a lot of stuff going on. We've got a train of cars here. Lob, Liquito, who has to serve a drive-through. Then JBH. We're all fairly close to one another, coming around turn 13. Into long straight. Now, DRS is enabled. And Liquito should be able to get by. Same with JBH. It's happened immediately. Quite right, Bags. Quite right. Liquito's through. JBH is almost through. Lob fights back. And to his credit, he takes 7th place back. Well, almost. JBH has the inside, but doesn't commit to the move. I thought JBH was going to send it. Noah spins. Oh dear, at the final turn, loses a place, and that's a reset to track, if ever I saw one. Liquito has dropped down to 8th. For some reason, he hasn't served his drive-through yet. JBH is battling here, side by side, through turn 3. Lob is hanging on. He's driving pretty well in that McLaren. Gets nice drive. Already blocks off JBH just a little bit. That's fair. That's fair. That's at the corner exit, so you're desperately trying to find some grip out there. No, they're both giving each other room. This is a fairly respectful battle. And, oh, Liquito's backwards. Doing some lawn mowing in the wrong direction. Banshee is up to 8th. Liquito is tumbling down through the order, and he'll tumble down even further once he serves his drive-through. Now JBH starting to drive away, 6.5 tenths is the gap. So long as Lob stays within that 1 second range, though, he can use DRS and close back in again. And he'll close in by about half a second, I reckon. It really is that powerful around here. Oh, but the back end steps out. Fortunately, he caught it. What's the gap? 9 tenths. He'll open DRS, maybe use a bit of battery as well. As Noah spins again, this time at turn 13. Doesn't hit anything, thank goodness. Lob, now half a second behind. He gained about 4 tenths. The help of DRS. It's stupid how powerful it is. And he gets going again. Now he has to be careful. He has muck on his tyres, so he doesn't have optimum grip. Just has to be careful putting on the power at the exit of the hairpin. Meanwhile, that's not Rafa. I'm supposed to be looking at Rafa, but I'm looking at JBH. I'm glad this glitch is still in the game. Right, this should fix it. Oscar, Rafa, down towards the hairpin at turn 6. Rafa not quite close enough as Noah goes in. Liquito goes in to serve his drive-through. Noah's probably going to bolt on some new tyres. Around turn 7, around turn 8. Rafa just working away little by little, closing that gap. He'll get by fairly easily down the long straight, but he doesn't really need to do anything here now. Through the chicane of 11 and 12, patiently biding his time. Just needs a nice clean run out of 13. Half a second back. He's using his battery. You can see there. You can see his tyre temps as well, all under 100. Actually, all under 90 degrees there. But he's not close enough. Oh, that's right. I remember from qualifying, Oscar had one of the quickest cars in a straight line, as I believe Shizant has spun. He's now directly in front of Darlotto, who is recovering from his spin at the virtual safety car restart. Shizen, he's right behind. He doesn't have DRS though, I think. There's Darlotto. He gets DRS. He's pulling away. Flavius goes into the pits. He's getting off the soft tyre. Shizen really trying to go down the inside, but can't get it done. Darlotto saw it coming. Drove very, very smartly. Just took a very wide line, gets the drive out of the hairpin and just disappears up the road. It's very intelligent driving from Darlotto there. Set of medium compound tyres, I think, on Flavius's car. Just left a nice wide line around the hairpin, got the drive out of the corner and just drove off into the distance. That's just very intelligent driving. Good awareness from the Alpine driver. Nice aerial shot here. Not one of the best though, because you can't see too much of the landscape around the racetrack. There's not too much to see though. The most spectacular thing around this circuit in terms of visuals is the stupidly big grandstand on the main straight. Looks more like a spaceship rather than a grandstand. I can only imagine what this would be like in person as Rafa spins. Oh, he hits the wall. Fortunately, he hits it with the rear of his car. Here comes Lob to get through into P6. I was going to say, how would this look like in person? Well, at Rafa's reduced speed, I guess he gets a pretty good look at it. You can see they're driving nice and steadily, trying not to lose control of the car. Got a battle on for 16th. See here. Lakeshow gets through. Liquito can't really do too much. Oh, outbrakes himself though. He goes briefly onto the grass. And into 16th place goes Liquito. Sector 2 yellows. That's a Ferrari. That must be Bant. No, it's JBH. JBH has made a mistake between 7 and 8. Because of that, he's dropped a position. He's down to P6. Interval disappears as Silent Banshee goes back into his car as Lakeshow spins. That's at turn 1, and he's back behind Liquito. Now the intervals will come back shortly once everyone crosses the control line. I eventually remembered what it is. This man's got a comfortable lead. He's begun lap 18 of 28, 11 laps to go. The gap is 5.7, made that 5.8 seconds. KD just minding his own business out in front. Mighty Wombat in a fairly comfortable second place. He's got 4.2 seconds to this man, Renner Jr. in P3. If I remember correctly, finished on the podium last week as well. Finished P3, if I remember. I think the podium was Lakeshow from Wombat from Renner Jr. We're going to have the same 3 cars. The only difference being the man in first. So the Lakeshow is looking like KD at this stage. Still got a long way to go. Seen from a few drivers up and down the field that can quite easily make mistakes around here. It's very important that you keep the car nice and straight, not make any mistakes as Noah sets a new fastest lap. 1 minute 34.305 as JBH is closing in on Lob. Rafa is just behind as well, looking to make up some places, looking to make up some lost time from earlier. Through the chicane, Lob makes a mistake. He runs awfully wide at turn 12. Down the long straight, JBH will have DRS and the inside line. Lob really can't do too much here. Oh, he's going to try and counter-attack down the inside. And he actually does a pretty solid job with that counter-attack. JBH has the inside line though. They're side by side as Lob Actually ducks into pit lane. Interesting. Pull it up. Good job. What are you up to? 11 lap old mediums. Going on to another set. He's showing a 2-stop. Interesting. A few other drivers are in too. So a lot of drivers doing a 2-stop here. Interesting. So as you pointed out, Ferrari Pro, tyre wear was going to be an issue, and some drivers have sought out to resolve that problem, putting on some fresh tyres. Those aren't mediums though, on Snake and Bean's car. Those are soft tyres in the Williams. Well, he'll have plenty of fresh ones because he crashed out at the beginning of qualifying. Oh, it was Bags, you said that. Sorry. Wrong person. Bags, you said for tyre wear was going to be an issue. Well, yeah, some drivers have tried to resolve that, pitting in, doing a 2-stop. Other drivers staying out. Might try and pit onto the soft tyre, who knows. Well, those two comments contradict one another now, don't they? Ferrari Pro says soft tyres should be able to make it from here. Bags replies, soft tyres from here, bold move. Good stuff. No pace at the second here. That's quite right. And pace is everything. Soft tyres will be feeling the burn towards the end. Rafa pitting in for a set of fresh medium tyres. Around 40% you think. Fair enough. Yeah, they'll definitely be past their best by that point. We'll keep an eye on it though, see what people do. Some may gamble to try and get their tyres, these medium tyres, to the end. The ones they pitted onto when the safety car came out. Others though, doing a 2-stop. Alright, what are you leaders up to then? KD's got a lot of time in hand. Almost 10 seconds left. Almost. Stays out for another lap. Mighty Wombat is the next car. The Williams driver, what does he do? Bequito, a 3-second time penalty. Mighty Wombat stays out for another lap. Renner Jr. also staying out as the car slides just a little bit there. Oscar stays out too. JBH is the next car. Stays out. Silent Banshee. The next car in P6 also stays out. So the first car that can make it, theoretically, is Dal Lotto on the hard tyre. He should be able to make it quite easily on those. What's the gap between him and KD, out of curiosity? Too big. 47 seconds. So I don't think he'd be able to challenge for the win, but he can certainly gain a few places if those in front need to pit. Or worse, get a puncture. Chisholm is into the pit lane. His tyres can't make it. He pulls up way too soon. Suppose it makes sure he doesn't get a 5-second penalty for speeding. Coming around the hairpin. KD with now over 10 seconds in hand. What does he do? Stays out. I reckon these fellas are going to try and go to the end on these tyres. There's a spin. That's Lob. He has had a moment at turn 8. He's now got Noah right behind. 3/10 behind to be exact. Heading into the chicane of 11 and 12. Now Noah should... Oh, as Lob makes a mistake. Noah goes around the long way. What a move, and what a fantastic camera shot provided by Codemasters. That aerial shot worked perfectly for that situation. Noah, not mucking around, he's into 9th place. Got DRS as well. A little extra reward for that overtake. Yeah, these fellas are going to try and go to the end on their tyres. There's Shizen getting out of the way of KD. Those two came together twice during the race in Portugal. As I mentioned in the intro, both drivers were given 5-second penalties and 1 penalty point because of it. No collisions here. Shizen respecting the blue flags and getting well out of the way. Up towards the hairpin of turn 14. Slams on the carbon fibre anchors. Pulls it up rather nicely. Let's see what you do. Going in, staying out, staying out. Not a lot of battling going on elsewhere. The field is pretty well spread out at this stage. See the mini-map, it's absolutely covered in multicolored dots. The rest of the drivers inside the top 6, they're still staying out. Because notice as well, Oscar's sporting a Ricardo helmet in that Aston Martin. Let's see here. Lake Show's closing in on Snake and Beans, so we might have a battle here for 13th place. There's Snake and Beans, there's Lake Show. It's been a less than average day for Lake Show. Sure, that's what he's thinking. From the highs of Portugal to the lows here in China, all brought about by a tiny mistake at turn 4, smashing his front wing. He's been on the recovery ever since. He's in the points, he's in the top 15. But not where he wants to be. Every point matters, so make sure he'll still be working hard, trying to catch up to the cars in front, try and snag every point he can get. Another neat thing I've noticed as well, you see the penalties. Only one driver has a penalty due to accumulating warnings, and that's Laquita. Dal Lotto also has a pen, but that was from speeding after crashing at the hairpin of turn 14 and 15. But even with that penalty, he's set to hang on to P7, so probably don't need the tyre graphic now. I think everyone who wanted to pit has pit. I think this is pretty much it from here to the checkered flag, unless something happens. KD's just out in front, chilling. He proved to be very quick over in Portugal, but he was hindered from the very start after a collision with Silent Banshee during qualifying. He was on the recovery drive from the get-go. He recovered up towards the lead, but then had a collision with Shizen, which put him into the pit lane, and he had to recover all those positions again. Ultimately, after the stewards' reports, he finished P6, which really didn't demonstrate how quick he is. But here in China, with both qualifying and this race performance, he really is showing he's pretty much the top dog here in the America Series. A healthy margin of 10.8 seconds. Guess under that, actually. He had a healthy margin at the end of qualifying of just under half a second. He's going to be a tough cookie to beat, that's for sure, over the course of this season. Interesting to see who can mount a challenge to KD. 4 laps to go here at Shanghai. It's not been the most amazing racer in the world, but certainly hasn't been too bad. Now these three are having a scrap for position. So we got Flavius P11, Psycho P12, and Lake Show P13. He'll be aiming to overtake both of these guys. Like I said, to try and secure as many points as he can. Coming around turn 13, what will he do here? Sitting in the slipstream. Look at Psycho, he's pretty quick down the straight. At the same speed as Lake Show. Heading down towards the hairpin. Lake Show goes deep on the brakes. Noah gets a 3-second time penalty. Becoming only the second driver in the race to get one of those. Around the final corner. It's not going to be easy because the car in front has DRS, so it's going to be difficult to find momentum. The crowd cheer for some reason as Psycho's looking down the inside. Oh, and he... Oh, no! Psycho slams on the brakes and Lake Show hits the back of him and he's got wing damage. Oh, dear. I suppose Psycho, he just backed out of trying to go for a move. And he slowed down that much. Lake Show just couldn't respond. No one could have responded to that. Oh. Yeah, Psycho just slowing down, I think, a bit too much. Turn 1. Lake Show just had nowhere to go. Poor fella. Almost hit 100 comments as well in the stream. 96. Gee whiz, you fellas have been chatting. Good to see. Yeah, that's quite right, Blake. Because the soft tyre just burns up way too quickly around here. They're good for a solid 5 laps. That's why a lot of drivers try to avoid qualifying them if it's a dry start. You have yellow flags. That's Noah, I think, and Noah and Lob. P9 and P10 had some sort of coming together, I think. Yeah, the soft tyre just burns up way too quickly. Way too quickly. It's a bit like Hungary or Singapore. It's fairly similar. Lake Show into the pits. He brought out yellow flag because of how slowly he was travelling. Poor fella. And I think he might just drop out of the points. Remember, in Race Spec, top 15 score points. Next car is Laquito, and he's coming around the final corner now. It's a fairly long transit time through the pit lane. And he's now in last place, effectively. Poor fella. You get races like this, though, with... You know, you start off pretty well and it just all goes downhill from there. I've had that several times over my driving career. Not just in F1 leagues, but in other racing leagues generally. It's not a great feeling at all. When you know you did well at the start, qualified well, or had a decent start in the race, and then just everything falls away and nothing goes your way after that. You know, when something bad happens, it typically gets worse. It very rarely gets better. And I think that's more or less what's happened to Lake Show today. Darlotto here closing in on Silent Banshee. Silent Banshee's been having connection problems over the course of the race, but doesn't disguise the fact that he's performed pretty well. He's in P6. He started from 19th after serving a qualifying ban as Psycho gets by Flavius. But, Silent Banshee's done quite well. And with Darlotto's penalty, it will mean that... Oh, that's pretty tight. Dude. You could hear there Darlotto slamming on the brakes as Silent Banshee pulled up to a final corner. The left-hander of turn 9 as the leaders begin the final lap. It seems that none of the drivers in the top 6 have had any problems in terms of punctures. Here comes the Alpine. It's going to be a simple move, and I don't really think Silent Banshee will fight back. Just let him have it and tow him along, I guess. This final lap will wrap up what has been a nice day in the office for KD. Shizant and Lake Show are battling for position. Really? There you go. Lake Show going around the long way. Gets it done at turn 9. If he can get within 3 seconds of Laquito, he can try and finish inside the points. Only a few corners remaining for KD. He doesn't need to do anything stupid here. Doesn't need to push, doesn't need to be aggressive. As Shizant, I think, has had a moment at turn 13. He comes around the hairpin for the final time. One more corner to negotiate for KD. It wasn't the greatest start to his season back in Portugal, but he's recovered nicely here at Shanghai. KD will win the Chinese Grand Prix in a dominant fashion, winning by well over 10 seconds here. Mighty Wombat will complete a nice drive to finish on the podium in P2. And Renner Jr. will be on the podium as well in 3rd place. That is the 2nd podium in a row for Mighty Wombat and for Renner Jr. So they'll be happy with their performances. Oscar Toll in a fine P4. If you bring up position change, look at that. He's made up 10 places. What an effort. Getting a 5 grid place penalty from qualifying. Started from 14th, finished 4th. Great effort. JBH in 5th. Dal Lotto will cross the line in P6. As Silent Banshee might have a puncture, does he? He's travelling off. Oh, he's run out of fuel. He's run out of fuel. So Dal Lotto will finish in P7. Rafa will finish in P6. Only just so by half a second. Then Silent Banshee in 8th. Noah in 9th. What race Noah could have had. Qualified 2nd. 3rd rather. It's a really unfortunate race for Noah as well. Lob completes the top 10. There's 101 comments. Look at that. Over 100. Fantastic. Flavius in 11th. Psycho in 12th. Snake and Beans in 13th. The Fixer will be our last finisher. We've got Shizant in our final point scoring spot in 15th. Oh no, we're still waiting on Laquito. Okay. Yeah, Refixer in 14th. Then Shizant in our final point spot in 15th place. Then Lake Show. Oh, what a race he had in 16th. Here comes Laquito in 17th place. To cross the line. And that's it here in Shanghai. And then he jumps up to 15th place. Oh, great. Well, I guess the lobby decided to glitch out right at the end. Great. Fantastic. Love it. Good stuff. Silent Banshee will more than likely get driver of the day. Coming back from a qualifying ban to finish inside the top 10 is a pretty solid effort. Especially when you consider he had 2 dropouts during the session. So, you'll be pretty happy with that performance. Snake and Beans as well. Crashing out at the beginning of qualifying. He made up 7 places to finish in 13th. It's a pretty solid effort too. Lob up 6. Snake and Beans getting a 20-second time penalty for no good reason. Because this race is still going for some bloody reason. Because this game is busted or buggery. For goodness sake. Now 3 retirements, Captain Schmeg, Guitar Hero and Ice Dev. All of them crashing out at some point during the race. Ice Dev, I think, was the exit of turn 4, if I remember. I know Guitar Hero was the exit of 13 and Captain Schmeg was the exit of turn 4. What do you know, Silent Banshee given driver of the day? You can make several arguments for a few other drivers like Oscar Toll and even the man who won this race, KD, after a fine performance. There we are. KD with the winner's trophy. Wombat finishing in 2nd. And Renner Jr. finishing in 3rd. I'm pretty certain that's Mighty Wombat's 2nd podium in the row. I'll double check that though. Yes, it is. So it's a Mercedes, Williams, and Alfa Romeo podium once again. The only difference is the man who finishes on the top step. A dominant performance from KD, started on pole by a healthy margin and won by a healthy margin of just under 11 seconds to Mighty Wombat. Renner Jr. will complete the podium in third. Oscar Toll, starting from 14th, recovered to a fine fourth place finish, a superb effort from the Aston Martin driver. JBH finishing in P at the end there from starting 7th. Rafa will finish in P6 in the Red Bull. Dal Lotto with that 5-second penalty for speeding means he finishes in 7th, with Silent Banshee running out of fuel at the end of the race means he finishes in P8, but he still claims driver of the day from starting 19th on the grid, making up 11 places over the course of the race. Noah will finish in 9th, and rounding out the top 10 will be Lob in P10, and also Noah claimed fastest lap. How about that? With a 34.3. Flavius will finish P11, Psycho in 12th, Rafixer in 13th. Snake and Beans will jump up a position because of that stupid penalty given out. So he'll actually finish in 13th, then Rafixer in 14th. Then our final point scorer is actually Laquito, 1 lap down in 15th place. Shizant in 16th, Lake Show having a horrible day. Started 4th, finished 17th. He was in 2nd place until he made that mistake at turn 4. Then it went downhill after that. Captain Schmeg crashing out at turn 4 means that he didn't finish the race. Neither did Guitar Hero, crashing at turn 13. I believe Ice Dev, I think he crashed at turn 4. It was either that or maybe the final corner. I can't quite remember. But he was our first retirement from the race. Well, it seems that we're stuck on this screen, which is fantastic too. Well, I'll take advantage of it. Take a sneaky race director, so if the stewards need anything, they can come and look at the stream if they want to. Might as well take advantage of it. You can see all the incidents. Look at all these warnings. Oh my goodness. And there we go. Now the session is actually counting down. Great. Not too many warnings, which is actually pretty neat to see. In all honesty, that's pretty good. Very few warnings, and here's all the pit stops. Well, front wing changes going on over the course of this one. These are the two big ones, probably Dal Lotto there. This one, Lake Show. Those two drivers were at the front. Those mistakes that they made at their respective times really did cost them. But there we are. The end to a lengthy race, thanks due to the wet conditions and also the safety car that we had. No, not bad. This is what I typically see here in China. It's not the most amazing racing in the world, but you do see some stuff here. It's just, from the past 2 races I've commentated, Pacific Elite and Pacific Tier 1, those races were uncharacteristically bonkers. From my time commentating here at Shanghai, it typically isn't the most entertaining place in the world. I can't remember too many races from Shanghai from my commentary career, but suddenly with Pacific Elite and Pacific Tier 1 we had 2 bonkers races. I'll more than likely remember. They were quite fantastic. Oh good, the bot's back. But I think this will end the stream, everybody. Not a bad race here at Shanghai, I think you'll more than likely agree. Wasn't the most entertaining thing in the world, but I'd say it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. But tune in throughout the week. There's still plenty of racing to come here on Race Spec Esports. We have Formula Endurance later in the week, and of course the Sunday Championships as well. But for the America Series, we'll have to wait until next week. Until then, I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you all so much for watching. And we'll see you for round 3 of the championship at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the Canadian Grand Prix. Certainly going to be an interesting race. Typically is at Canada. And, thank you everyone so much for watching. And until next time, it's goodbye.